Okay, so here we see the actual data that was collected during the project, and it's a just simple comparison of the rubric scores that the students earned at the beginning of the project. So this would be the baseline scores that the students earned, and then the scores that the student earned at the end of the project. And all of the scores for each area are the mean average of the entire class as a whole. So we can see the most of the improvement was here in the content, and which makes sense because the majority of our revision activities focused on improving the content of the writing. We can see that the mean average initially was a 2.2 in terms of content and grew to a 4.7. Also a lot of improvement in the organization, which again should probably be expected because of all the extra structure that was provided to the student and all the practice that we did in terms of organizing the paragraphs and making sure the paragraphs were cohesive and followed a logical order. We see again a jump from 2.2 to 4.5, so over a 2-point increase in terms of the rubric itself. One of the lowest areas in terms of improvement was vocabulary. The students still improved about a point overall, but there were some changes in terms of the instruction that I would have liked to make in the end. So one of the things that you can add on to these writing tasks is a vocabulary list, a suggested list of words and phrases to use for the students, and the phrases can also help improve their fluency as well, which saw a much smaller increase in comparison to the other categories as well. And so providing the students with a list of words and phrases to use gives them some additional structure in terms of how to actually use a variety of words and a variety of phrases in their writing. A lot of the students will fall back on only the things that they know and they're comfortable with, but if they have some new phrases that are in front of them, they can get some practice with using them. Also, in terms of the conventions, we didn't do a lot of direct instruction in terms of typical conventions, subject-verb agreement, appropriate grammar, spelling, things like that. A lot of those corrections I just made on my own. And so next time around, or after the focus on the content and the organization, it would probably be good to say, okay, well, let's do some specific activities targeting the use of conventions. And we can see there's only a very small increase in that category. But overall, I would say that the project was very successful in terms of the interventions that it used, and was successful in meeting its goals in terms of getting the students to improve in their different areas. It didn't quite meet the level that we were looking at, so again, the goal was to get all of the students at a mean average of 4, and we can see in sort of these other categories that we didn't focus as much on it as opposed to content and organization. So content and organization were sort of the main focus of the revision activities and the instructional activities, and we can see a much larger growth in that area as opposed to the other areas. But the 2-point increase was also successful for content, at least. It was not as successful in fluency, but as sort of a byproduct of the increase in content, we also saw an increase in organizations. So an improvement next time would be some specific instructional techniques and strategies in order to improve fluency as a targeted area. And so that would be part of the vocabulary and phrases word list, and some more modeling of how to construct compound and complex sentences. Okay, thanks for listening.